Hello friends, it's Lisa and welcome to my bullet journal setup for the month of October. I feel like I say this literally every single month, but I cannot believe we are in October. Like, the end of the year is almost here. We are at spooky season. I'm very happy about it. Like, this time of year, the last few months of the year are some of my favorite times of the year, so I'm happy about it, but also cannot believe 2023 is almost over. And of course, with Halloween approaching in the month of October, I wanted this month's theme to be a little bit more spooky, very much lean into those Halloween sort of vibes. And I'm gonna try not to say spooky and vibes so many times in this voiceover, but that's just like the go-to vocab for me, especially vibes. Spooky, I also just use so much this time of year, and I apologize. But yes, this month I wanted to do a very Halloween-y theme, so I decided to do a little ghost theme. It's relatively simple, but also I love to take something that should be really simple and make it more complicated for myself. So I thought, instead of just drawing a bunch of ghosts on all of these monthly spreads this month, I thought, what if I take black paper, black construction paper, and do the ghosts on top of that? So kind of keeping the theme all black and white and gray as well, but really having a black and white theme, but using black paper to kind of make the ghosts stand out and then have white ghosts. I don't know, something a little bit different, but because I'm gonna be drawing white ghosts on top of black paper, I need something very opaque. So that's why I decided to paint the ghosts this month. I have used paint in my bullet journal before, and something that I forgot when going into this month is that paint needs time to dry. So I started by working on the title page for the month. I laid out the black piece of paper, sized it to the pages in my bullet journal, and then started working on drawing the little ghosties going across the page. So I'm just using basic white paint, and then I do go in and add some black dots for the eyes, and then I also use one of my Tombow markers, one of my pink Tombow markers, to add like some blushy cheeks on the ghosts, just to add a little bit of color and also just to make them a little bit cuter. And then I also use the paint to write out October. And the reason I didn't use like a paint pen or something that would be easier to do with this type of thing and you wouldn't have to wait for it to dry is that the paint pens that I do use, I think the white one that I have is almost like completely out of ink because I use it a lot. And then I don't have a very good white gel pen. So if any of you have any recommendations of white gel pens or white paint pens that show up good, that are very opaque on top of black paper or any color paper, really, I would love to hear them. So yeah, I couldn't use any of those types of tools that would make it a little bit easier, so I had to use the paint, but with that did mean I had to wait for it to dry. So I did the little ghosties on the main title page, wrote out October with the paint, and then decided to just do all of the painting stuff first. So I went through and cut up all of the construction paper that I was going to need for all of the headers and all of the extra detail that I wanted throughout all of these spreads, and then just painted all of the ghosts and the little stars and stuff on all of the pages, just so that when I came back to actually set up my journal, all of that would be done. It would be all dry. I basically would just have to glue everything in. But yeah, I did all of the construction paper part, all of the painting parts first, because I figured I needed time to have them dry, and then I could return to actually setting up my bullet journal for the month once that was all done. So I came back to finish filming this bullet journal setup once all of the paint was dry. That's something that if I continue to use paint in my bullet journal, I need to actually remember. I've done it before. I don't know why I forgot that paint, has to have time to dry. But once all of that was done, I was able to actually proceed in setting up my bullet journal. And honestly, once all of those headers and all of the painting and drawing and all of that was done, setting up my bullet journal this month was very easy. So after the title page, I move on to my calendar spread. So for this, I put the two headers kind of at the top of the page and also one on the bottom. I kind of wanted there to be no empty space on the calendar spread this month. So I have all of the construction paper covering any blank space that I don't need. And also, yes, of course, I just thought of Taylor Swift when I said blank space. I literally can't say her song titles without thinking of her. She's ruined so many words in the English vocabulary, but anyway. So I'm gluing in the parts with the construction paper and the ghost details and drawings, and then I actually make the calendar. So I'm just using a plain black marker to create the boxes for the calendar. And because I really wanted this spread to be mostly black and white, for the numbers and making them stand out on the actual calendar, I take a light gray marker, just create a little circle and then I write the numbers of the days of the month on that little circle. And then after going in and writing out all of the numbers for the days of the month, I do have a little notes section off to the side. I added a little notes section in my calendar page last month for September, and I found it really nice to have that as a way to like write down certain events or like videos I want to film or just certain things that are coming up. It was just really nice to have that as a way to kind of have an overview. And so I really wanted to have that again this month. So I created that little notes section on the calendar page as well. And then that was it for the calendar. That is everything that I wanted to include. And like I said, just gluing in all of the construction paper and basically just drawing boxes, it made this setup go very quickly once the painting part was done. The painting took a while, but the actual setup was a lot faster. Now, after the calendar spread is done, I'm now working on my next spread, which is going to be my habit tracker. So once again, gluing in the header up at the top, but then also I did have a little bit of construction paper with just some stars and stuff on the bottom as like a little border. I really just wanted to take up a lot of like the empty space in these spreads and fill it with the design and the construction paper. So I glue the habit header up at the top and then that little border down at the bottom. And then I create 6 boxes of the actual calendar for me to actually keep track of my habits. And then over on the left side of this spread also, I do my playlist page, which I just, again, have the header up at the top that just says playlist. I have another border for the bottom of this page as well. And then I create 2 lines on the side to kind of create a box-like appearance for the playlist. But then that's really it. I just want to keep it blank so that I have the space to write down any songs or albums I was listening to in the month of October. And the next spread I'm working on is one that I'm really excited about. It's one that's new for this month, and that is my autumn media spread. I did something like this in my October bullet journal last year, and I really liked having a place to keep track of the things that I wanted to watch and read this month, because I feel like there's always so many like spooky Halloween, but also just like autumnal fall movies and shows and books that I want to watch and read over the next couple of months. So I wanted to create a spread to keep track of those things. And I called this my like autumn media spread. I didn't really know what else to title it, but I also was using paint to write out the words, so I wanted to keep it as short as possible. But I just have movies over on the left-hand side, all of the movies I'm going to want to watch over the next couple of months. And then also on the right side, I have a place for me to write down any shows and books that I want to read. And now we're moving on to the final spreads for October, and that is my weekly spreads. So once again, I created little strips of black construction paper with all of the numbers of the days of the month that I'm going to have in my weekly spreads, put some stars around the numbers, and I just pasted those in over on the left-hand side. And after that piece of paper with the numbers is glued in, I just create these black lines to separate the days of the week to create 7 boxes for the different days of the week. Then I take my gray marker, drew a little bubble to write out like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know the days of the week. And then I also add some stars as well to the spreads just to add a little bit more fun and details to the weekly spreads. But again, I do like to keep my weekly spreads pretty simple just so that I have plenty of space to write down everything I need to do or want to do or anything like that. I like to bring the theme into the weekly spreads a little bit, but not too much because again, I need the space. But that is it. Those are all of my spreads for this October. So here's a flip through of how they all turned out. I'm really excited to fill out this month's spreads. I feel like having it all black and white is pretty different for me. I feel like I normally use a lot of different colors. So I'm excited to see how they all turn out and what they all end up looking like. And it is a relatively simple theme. It would have been a lot more simple if I didn't paint, but again, I like to make things more difficult for myself. But if you have a bullet journal, I would love to know what you decided to do, what theme, any certain spreads you decided to include. I'd love to hear it down below in the comments, but that is going to be it for my October bullet journal setup. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.